The mushroom you see is not the entire organism. It is only the part that appears above the ground. The rest of the fungus may be hiding beneath your feet. It can spread through soil, wood, and decaying matter as a vast network of microscopic threads. And then, when the conditions are right, it suddenly produces a mushroom. But that's not the strangest part. Some mushrooms can digest their food from the outside. Some can form partnerships with plants. And some can look completely harmless while containing toxins that can kill you. So what is a mushroom really? How does it grow? And how can something that looks so simple hide such a complex world? Let's look beneath the cap. It starts with something incredibly small, a spore. Spores are produced by fungi and can be carried by wind, water, or animals. When a suitable spore lands somewhere with the right conditions, it can begin to grow. Tiny, thread-like structures emerge. These are hyphae. They continue branching and connecting with one another. Together, they form a network called mycelium. This hidden network absorbs nutrients from its surroundings. But fungi don't eat food the way animals do. They release digestive enzymes into their environment. Those enzymes break complex organic material into smaller molecules. The fungus then absorbs the nutrients. Then something amazing happens. When environmental conditions are right, the mycelium can produce a fruiting body. That is the mushroom we recognize. It grows upward. The familiar cap appears. The stalk supports it. And underneath the cap, many species have gills or pores. These structures are involved in producing and releasing spores. The mushroom is essentially the fungus's reproductive structure, helping spread its spores into the outside world. Once the spores are released, the cycle can begin again. Spore, hyphae, mycelium, fruiting body, spores, and the process repeats. But what is a mushroom actually made of? At the cellular level, fungi are very different from plants. Their cell walls contain chitin. Chitin is also found in the exoskeletons of insects and other arthropods. Fungal cell walls also contain other substances, including glucans. Inside those walls are fungal cells containing nuclei and other cellular structures. It is a complex fungal structure built from countless microscopic cells and hyphae, and mushrooms are only one part of the fungal world. There are enormous numbers of fungal species. Some fungi produce large mushrooms. Others produce tiny structures that we can barely see. Some are yeasts. Some are molds. Some live by decomposing dead material. Others form partnerships with living plants. Some can cause disease. And some are extremely useful to humans. But some fungi do something even stranger. They can manipulate insects. One famous example is the genus Ophiocordyceps. Some species infect ants and other insects. The fungus grows inside its host, and in some cases, it can alter the insect's behavior. The infected insect may leave its normal environment. It can move to a location that is more suitable for the fungus. Eventually, the insect dies. The fungus then grows out of its body and releases spores into the surrounding environment. The fungus has essentially turned the insect into a vehicle for its own reproduction. It sounds like science fiction, but this behavior has been documented in nature, and it reveals just how strange the relationship between fungi and animals can become. And this is where things become dangerous, because not every mushroom is edible. In fact, some poisonous mushrooms can look remarkably similar to edible species. Two mushrooms can have similar colors, similar shapes, similar caps, and even similar smells. Yet one may be harmless while another can cause severe poisoning. Some poisonous mushrooms can damage the liver or kidneys. Others can cause neurological symptoms, and some can be fatal. So how can you tell which mushroom is safe to eat? There is no simple universal test that tells you whether a wild mushroom is poisonous. Color alone doesn't work. Shape alone doesn't work. Smell alone doesn't work. And cooking does not reliably make a poisonous mushroom safe. Some toxic species closely resemble edible ones. Even experienced foragers can make identification mistakes. That is why poison control organizations advise people never to eat a wild mushroom unless it has been identified by a qualified mushroom identification expert. Experts don't look at just one feature. They may examine the shape and color of the cap. They look underneath the cap. Are there gills? Are there pores? What color are the spores? What does the stalk look like? Does the base have a bulb or other distinctive structure? Does the mushroom change color when bruised? And perhaps most importantly, where is it growing? The location and growing substrate can be important clues. One particularly dangerous group is the Amanita mushrooms. Some Amanita species contain amatoxins. These toxins can cause severe liver damage. The frightening part is that serious symptoms may not appear immediately. A person can eat a poisonous mushroom, feel fine for several hours, and only later become seriously ill. That's one reason mushroom poisoning can be especially dangerous. So why do people eat mushrooms at all? Because thousands of mushroom species exist, and many are valuable foods. Common cultivated mushrooms include the white button mushroom, cremini, and portobello. They are actually different forms of the same species, Agaricus bisporus, harvested at different stages. Other cultivated mushrooms include oyster mushrooms and shiitake. These mushrooms are grown commercially, under controlled conditions. Around 1650, French gardeners were cultivating the button mushroom, Agaricus bisporus, in underground caves and quarries near Paris. They used horse manure as compost, earning the mushrooms the nickname Paris mushrooms. The practice later spread around the world. Today, mushroom farming is a sophisticated industry. Growers don't simply plant mushroom seeds. There are no mushroom seeds. Instead, growers work with fungal material, such as spawn, which contains living mycelium. The mycelium is introduced into a prepared growing substrate. The fungus then colonizes that material. When the conditions are right, mushrooms begin forming. Temperature, moisture, fresh air, light levels for some species, and the composition of the growing medium can all influence development. Eventually, the tiny fruiting bodies expand into recognizable mushrooms. But mushrooms aren't just food. They are also incredibly important to ecosystems. Many fungi are decomposers. They break down dead leaves, wood, and other organic material. Without fungi and other decomposers, nutrients would become trapped inside dead organisms. Fungi help return those nutrients to ecosystems. Some fungi also form partnerships with plant roots. These relationships can help plants obtain nutrients and water. So the fungus underneath a forest floor can be doing enormous amounts of work without producing a single mushroom that you can see. And this leads to one of the strangest facts about mushrooms. The mushroom is often only the visible part. The much larger fungal network may remain hidden. You see the mushroom, but underneath it, there may be an entire fungal world. So the next time you see a mushroom growing after rain, don't think of it as a small plant. Think of it as the visible reproductive structure of a much larger organism, a network of microscopic threads, a living system that can digest its surroundings from the outside, a structure capable of producing countless spores, and sometimes a food source. Sometimes a medicine-producing organism, and sometimes a deadly mistake. That is what makes mushrooms so fascinating. They can look simple on the surface, but underneath that cap is one of the strangest biological systems on Earth. And if you're ever considering eating a wild mushroom, there is one rule worth remembering. If a qualified expert has not confirmed its identity, don't eat it. Subscribe to XeViX for more fascinating science, biology, and hidden mysteries.